Hello and welcome to episode 17 of Red Plays Pokemon Sun. Now in the last episode we had just completed Kiawe's trial and we are now well on our way on to the next one. I did some farming off screen, made some progress, and I have a feeling we're actually very close. Maybe we can tackle it in the next episode after this one. Okay, so we've been approached by a scientist-looking person, and his name is Kores. The theme of my research is bringing out the potential of Pokemon, and what brings out the power of Pokemon is, I believe that is the bond they share with their trainers. And thus my attention is drawn to trainers like yourself. Trainers bound to their Pokemon through the power of the Z-Ring. Now that I think of it, I've never asked your name. Achilles, is it? I'll remember your name. To commemorate our encounter, let me give you a TM. Okay, so we just got a flame charge off of this guy, which is helpful. Okay, so from what he says, I think we can expect to fight Grass-type Pokemon in the next trial, for which we already have a counter, and that's a Flying-type hidden power in Barks. Although of course we just acquired a Salandit, who's a Fire-type, and we can also use Salandit to counter the Grass-type Pokemon that we'll be encountering in huge number in the coming trial. So Flame Charge 50 power, yeah, I think I'm gonna hold off on it for now. Not entirely useful yet. Because Salandit is a special attacker, not a physical attacker, so teaching it a physical move is actually counterproductive. And of course we have taken the liberty of naming Salandit Kleptomania, who just gives off this thief vibe, so I thought Kleptomania is an appropriate name, not to make fun or make light of any sufferers of said condition, but still, I think it's highly apt. Okay, as I'm recording this, we have already crossed over into the new year. It's 2017. Happy New Year to all of you. And I know I talked about New Year resolutions already in a previous episode about how I don't make any of them anymore. Yeah, and as with many news outlets and channels online, here's to hoping 2017 will be a much better, far better year than 2016 had been, at least in the realm of geopolitics. And just in general, I would say. Okay, let me check out this back alley over here. It's a big pearl. Okay, got some more cash out of that. Oh, and yes, I have to talk about Pokemon Pelago. I think it's old news by now, but I just discovered in my off-screen farming that after acquiring the Charizard Glide Ride Pokemon, that I gain access to a whole new area in the game called Pokemon Pelago. I mean, you can't actually walk around there and encounter new stuff, but it's more like, you know, where all your box Pokemon hang out. Like, in the past they would just, I don't know, be trapped in their Pokeballs or whatever balls they happen to be in back in the PC. But in this game, I think it's quite neat that they've included a feature like Pokemon Pelago, where your inactive Pokemon are basically chilling on a series of islands that have different amenities. Like there's the main island, I forgot what the names are, but there's a main island where, you know, there's a Pokebean store. Literally a Pokebean store where you can shake it and Pokebeans will just fall from it. You can farm Pokebeans that way. On top of getting, you know, your daily fix from the Pokemon Cafe in Pokemon centers around the game. And so besides Cookie Beanstalk, there's a generous amount of space for your Pokemon to chill. There's another island where you get to grow berries. Another island where your Pokemon explore in order to find items, which is quite neat because they allow you to find such things as like water stones and thunder stones and all that, the evolutionary stones, which is very neat if you're a fan of the Pokemon Eevee and you would like to collect like its different evolutionary types. I highly recommend such evolutionary palms as Jolteon. It's a decent, in fact a rather good electric type to have in your team if you like to fill up your roster. As for the rest, I've not really kept up, but I do remember Jolteon being a rather good one. But anyway, yes, your Pokemon can explore, on one of the islands, a cave where they can find like items such as evolutionary stones. I've not exactly fully explored. Once I find out new things, I'll share with you guys. But there are many paths that you can unlock through upgrading the island. And there's another island where they can exercise, so to gain levels, to gain like effort values in certain stats. And finally, there's another level where they can relax, I think that's where they get friendlier. So it's a very neat feature. So in this game, you have the main game, you have the Festival Plaza, which I've explained at length in previous episodes, and now you have the Poképelago. I don't know what else I'm going to encounter after all. It's only the second island. I'm very excited. This has got to be one of the most, if not the most, innovative Pokemon titles ever. And I'm very, very happy that I actually got to, play this game and to share my experience with all of you who's watching my videos. So I spent quite a lot of, or rather I've been quite dutiful in returning to the Pokemon Pelago every day because that's when it resets and that's typically when your berries are grown, where your Pokemon return from exploring the routes and all that. Yeah, it's quite a neat little feature and simplifies the farming quite a bit. Like in past games, I remember, it's actually quite hard for you to get such items as evolutionary stones. There usually is a set number in any game, but not anymore here, which I think is a huge improvement because, like, it just doesn't make sense to me that you can only evolve, say, 5 Pokemon with Thunderstones because that's all you're gonna get short of like connecting with other players or with like the Pokemon Global Link and playing the mini games online in order to get like the stones. So I think this makes a lot of sense. Okay, so we've gotten a new Pokemon at Trumbeak, which is a evolutionary stage along the Pikipek line. It eats berries. Okay, so well, nothing really much to talk about here. It's a citrus berry. I'm gonna take it from you and be off on our jolly journey. So there's a few things I want to get done within the next 2 episodes. That's clear. The final captain trial on this Akala Island, and then be able to move on to the grand trial with the island Kahuna Olivia, and to evolve my Kleptomania, the Slender, into a Salazzle, and also to evolve my Voracity, which is currently a Shelgon, into a Salamence. That one has been put off for a very, very long time. He's been sitting at level 48 for a very long time. So my plan is to level him up to like level 49, and then feed him a rare candy. I got quite a few during my farming sessions off screen. Feed him a rare candy to bump him up to level 50, and then have him evolve into Salamence. As for Salandit, I'll be using the Rare Cafe to bump its level up to, I think, level 32, because it evolves at 33, and then I'll do some farming to get it to level 33. Yeah, so I think you'll see that complete within the next 2 episodes, episode 18 and 19. If possible, I'll show them on screen, like, to evolve the Pokemon on screen. If not, I will update you guys when I start the video. Okay, so we're at the end of this corridor. I think it's the last trainer we have to fight, Archon. I've not seen this particular Pokemon in a very long time. I think it's a Flying Rock type, one of the fossil Pokemon. A water type move will make short work. So let's go with Sparkling Aria. Very nice. Okay, the experience that we're getting is actually not too bad, considering how overleveled we are. Sheldon, I think steel rock type. Water should still work. I'm not entirely sure, but I think it should still work. Yes, excellent. Okay, so it's got my memory. Okay, it's got sturdy as well. Not wise to be taunting somebody who's 23 levels above you, but well, I'm not gonna stop you. So I'm not entirely sure when the Pokebank is going to be updated. I think I should check it out. But as soon as they update the Pokebank, I'll be looking to transfer my Gen 6 items and Pokemon that I had prepared over to this game and, you know, see how much of mileage I can get out of them. Which I think it's quite a lot. I, after all, had trained at this place. It's a fossil restoration center. So, okay, so I've stumbled upon a place where you go to restore your fossils. I wonder what fossils we'll be able to get in this game. Oh, let's see. Startland's onto something. Aha! Okay, it's just an awakening, but whatever. Like I mentioned before, I had actually prepared a team of 6 Pokemon, fully effort value trained, and I had bred them to have the correct IVs and the correct natures, you know, in the hopes that I would be able to use them in Gen 7. Unfortunately, that wasn't true. We couldn't trade between Gen 6 and 7, and the Pokebank had to be updated, so I ended up having to use the Pokemon that I found in-game, which is not a bad thing, I think, you know, to explore the Pokemon that we have in this game. After all, what's the point of, you know, just... I mean, I guess there's a point. You're still going through the campaign and all that, but I think there's added value to, you know, exploring what kind of Pokemon that you can find and what kind of value and mileage you can get out of those within the actual game itself, rather than bringing over Pokemon from a previous game. Of course, there's also the nostalgia value of being able to use older generation Pokemon in a new generation game. I just wish we were given a choice, but I mean, kind of like between X and Y and Omega Ruby and Alpha Sapphire, where you could actually do that. You know, bring in X and Y Pokemon over to Omega Ruby if you had like a substantial save. And I think it makes sense also in the sense that you spend all that time in a certain generation of games. Say maybe you sunk like maybe 200 hours into Pokemon X. And, you know, to be able to make use of that time that you put into that previous game in a new game, I think is valuable. I mean, instead of just starting at like zilch, you know, again in the new game and, you know, feeling like, oh, come on, I've done the grind before, I've done the breeding nonsense. I mean, yeah, not exactly nonsense, but I've actually spent the effort in the previous game to do all that. Do I really have to do all that again in a new game? But anyway, that's just what I think. So anyway, time to get some Quick Balls and Dust Balls, 2 of my favorite Pokeballs in Pokemon ever. Quick Balls, those are the balls that you throw at the very first turn because that's where they have their maximum effectiveness, and Dust Balls because as long as it's night or if you're in a cave, they actually work far better than Ultra Balls, and they're actually cheaper. So why not? Okay, let's check it out. There's another motel in this. I don't expect to be able to stay in it, but let's see. Yeah, okay, so there's no vacancies and all that. There's a boy staying who's paid up 2 years worth of nights. Really? That's odd. Who paid 2 years worth of rent for a motel? Okay, well, Team Skull. So I'm guessing it might be Gladian. Let's pay that room a visit. And sure enough, it is Gladian, and that's all he has to say. Get out. Get out. Not very friendly. I mean, we fought once or twice. Maybe Thrice, I don't exactly remember. Well, don't you have anything else to say to me rather than get out? Well, I guess that means I don't have to go easy on you the next time I meet you, and I'm sure as hell not going to go easy on his ass. What's this? Dive. Well, what's her? Parking lot in the middle of nowhere. Let's see if there's anything to find here. Not exactly. Oh. More trainers. This one talking about golf. I personally know very little about golf. Although one might say I'm at the age where I should start learning. Or actually I'm far past the age where I should start learning. I don't know, too expensive for my taste. But it is slightly interesting to share a tidbit about, what I know about golf. Apparently, the previous dictator of North Korea, Kim Jong-il, was alleged to have scored 13 holes in one the very first time he picked up a golf club and tried golf. 13 holes in one. That means he only needed one shot for all 13 holes in a traditional golf course. Well, I'm not a golf expert, but what I'm not saying that is impossible. I think it is highly, highly, highly improbable, nearly impossible, virtually undoable. And it's laughable that they would, come up with propaganda like that. I mean, do they really... You see, that's the thing about North Korea. They say all sorts of ridiculous things, like, when Kim Jong-il was born, all the birds in Korea sang in Korean to mark the occasion. They say such, rubbish things as him being able to score 13 holes in one the very first time he picked up a golf club. He certainly does not show, any sort of athleticism when he was still alive. But, yeah, it's kind of like, do you take your people for idiots? I mean, I kind of think that surely isn't for foreign consumption. I mean, any of us would be able to see through that kind of lie, in an instant. But is that supposed to impress the North Korean people? I mean, don't North Koreans have at least that level of intellect to be able to see through what kind of lie it was? Like, bird singing? I mean, when have you seen a bird singing? I mean, though they might not be able to, of course, express that out loud because, their lives are on the line, but does the propaganda department of North Korea really think that that sort of lie would impress people, would be believed? But, oh well, it's North Korea. It's a very sad place, it's a very strange place, it's a very reclusive place, unfortunately. Surrounded by sea on all sides and the DMZ on its south. And, well, I think there's been a lot of smuggling of, electronic communication devices in recent years. There's still very much a very isolated place. And information from the outside world is very slow to filter into the country. So it is, I think, probable at least to say that the majority of North Korean propaganda is believed by its citizens. If not wholeheartedly, then on penalty of death, right? Well, 2017 is a new year, and one can hope that things would look up for the North Korean people in time to come. Okay, so I spoke to that lady earlier at the top of this stony place, and apparently the Wimpod is supposed to be something that's hard to catch, but I think I lucked out because I happened to be on Stoutland searching for things and it runs quite quickly, so I managed to catch it at, the first attempt. Otherwise, I would have to come back, I think, to get it out of its cave and then chase it down again. So I guess I lucked out. Let me just look around this little island over here. Yeah, see, so I just found in Waterstone. So like I said, in previous games, like, if you took the effort to find all the available Waterstones in a game, which would be like maybe 4 or 5, that's all you would ever get. You know, and if you use that to evolve Pokemon like Eevee into Vaporeon, you know, and that's just 1 out of 5 taken up, and you only have 4 more to use. And let's say you catch a Staryu and you want to evolve it into a Starmie, that's another 1 gone, and by the time you finish all, you're like, oh dear, I still have Pokemon that I want to evolve using the Water Stone, but I can't anymore because I don't have any more Water Stones. It was... okay, I would say horrible, but it made, like, for a bad game design choice in my opinion. So I think the Pokemon Pelago thing is a godsend. I'm so glad that they included it in this generation of Pokemon games. So kudos to Game Freak and Nintendo for, you know, making improvements, a lot of improvements I would say, in this game, because in the past it was very incremental. It's like, okay fine, you will like come up with another 100 or 150 new Pokemon. We'll come up with like new gym leaders, but it's still the same old schlick, you know. You go to a gym, you challenge the leader, you get the badges, you go to Elite Four, you battle the Pokemon League, you battle the Pokemon Master, sorry, the Pokemon Champion, and then become champion, you know, and that's more or less game over. Otherwise, you have to go to like the Pokemon Battle Tower, you beat like 50 battles in a row, that kind of thing. Or you just play like online, you know, try to win a few battles and all that, be part of Pokemon meta. That was all, you know. And every new generation, it was just new Pokemon, new gyms and all that. I'm so glad they decided to take Sun and Moon in, like, you know, more than just that direction, you know, try new things. Very, very glad. Okay, so we're back at Route 5, and I think, yes, okay, so this is designated trial site, and we've arrived at the trial, but I think I'm going to call this an episode and dedicate the next episode entirely to a trial. So if you liked our video, as usual, subscribe. We'll put out new videos every 2 to 3 days, and as always, thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next episode of Red Plays Pokemon Sun.